Hey, you're listening to Seltzerquest, where we try the best and worst in hard seltzers and offbeat beverages so that you don't have to. We suffer for our art because we believe that suffering is good content. If you like listening to us suffer, or have recommendations for beverages for us to review, email us at holler@seltzerquest.com. Again, that's holler@seltzerquest.com. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and YouTube and follow our social media at instagram.com/seltzerquest. Engage with us through whatever channel you like, because in this robotically driven world, engagement is all that matters. Alright, now that's out of the way, let's do a podcast.
Can't even play the goddamn game.
Right.
Oh,
Alright,
indeed.
so, hello listeners, and welcome to a special episode of Seltzerquest. I'm not sure if this is going up on schedule or off kilter or whatever. Anyway, we have in studio with us Alex Weber of Sharab Shrubs here in Minneapolis, and he's going to be taking us through some of his products and telling us what the deal is with shrubs. So,
nice introduction. By the way, I'm Derek. So
well, no,
I'm
look,
also here. You already said who you were. You already said who M was, and you already said.
I didn't say
I'm
who I am.
pretty sure you did. Do you want to fight?
I did not say.
We could fight. Later.
Look, we'll do introductions.
Later.
Okay. No, you'll win. We'll do introductions. In chair 1, I'm Merlin. In chair 2, we have...
It's Derek.
And in chair 3, our guest for this episode...
Hey, folks, it's Alex from Sharab Shrubs.
All right. So let's just jump right into it here. And before we get going, I should ask... I know this, but for the listeners and Derek, Alex, what is a shrub?
So a shrub, quite simply, in its purest form, is going to be a fruit and sugar and vinegar-based mixer. They originated in the northern part of Iran about 2,000 years ago as a way to preserve without refrigeration. So taking fruit, adding sugar, letting that ferment, and then adding the vinegar to stop the fermentation, and then allowing that to just be kept as long as you need. Kind of the fun thing with shrubs now is a lot of us are using them in cocktails and in cooking and non-alcoholic drinks. So something that is 2,000 years old is kind of new again almost.
I'm going to jump in here with some more trivia. It shares the same etymology as the word sherbet, which I guess in America we pronounce sherbert.
Debatable.
The etymology of that is it's derived from the Persian word sharbat, which shares a derivation with sharab or shrub. It obviously they sound very similar, and it's a similar concept. It's just you pour it over shaved ice.
Yep.
I did not know that. That's absolutely fantastic.
It came west into the Arab world, where Arabs don't like pronouncing the last vowel in a word. So sharbat became sharbet. Which was imported to Europe as sorbet in France, sorbetto in Italy. The English just used the same word.
Sorbet.
Sherbet.
Okay.
And somewhere in there, the concept got sort of the concept. They kept the concept the same, but sort of mixed up the execution, where now the fruit is in the ice instead of poured on top.
Oh, I think sherbet. Sherbet. Oh man, I said sherbet.
You did just say
I
sherbet.
used to be annoyed at people who said sherbet, but then I say it because it sounds fun. I don't know. That's how language works. Anyway, I'm going to go buy some sherbet after this.
Well, and the interesting thing with the word sharab, so one of the reasons we're called Sharab Shrubs is, like you said, sharab is Arabic for drink. Sharaba means to drink, and then the word shrub derives its name again from sharab, which means either syrup, shrub, sorbet, sherbet, and kind of as you went from Middle East into India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Asia, that word sharab means essentially similar things, but all kind of a little different. So I might be pronouncing this wrong, but somebody told me that sharabi is a slang for a drunkard in India, and sharab is a alcoholic drink. Now you move into Bangladesh, sharab means fermented fruit drink because a lot of people aren't drinking over there. And then you move closer to the Middle East where this all started, and that means a fermented fruit drink. So it's kind of like the telephone game, is that you had this one word and it just kept going further and further away, and that stayed similar, but it kind of lost a little meaning here and there.
Yeah, I love it when you can trace a word's etymology so directly like that. You don't see a lot of that.
There's usually like a missing link, and you're like, yeah, we got here somehow.
Right, it's like we got here from Proto-Indo-European somehow. Anyway, that's the history of shrubs. Now let's see what are we tasting today?
We got a few different shrubs. So I brought our strawberry shrub, which is, I think, probably the most easy to get into for shrub flavors. It just tastes like grandma's jam. It's just super bright, just full of fruit. We also have our raspberry shrub, our Asian pear ginger cinnamon shrub, and then one of our Tattersall collaborative shrub flavors, which is 18th and Central. It is a pineapple toasted coconut and lime that we did in conjunction with Tattersall Distilling.
Nice. Tattersall Distilling, for those of us who are, I know we have dedicated listener bases outside the Twin Cities. That's another local drinks manufacturer. Local until they move to River Falls, Wisconsin, as a union busting move. We'll just gloss over that for now.
Too sad.
Anyway, let's get into it. So, are we doing the mixed drink first? I feel like we should just try the shrub on its own, maybe mix with some
That's
sparkling
kind of what
water.
I was thinking. We do like the shrub and sodas first, then we can go into cocktails and whatnot.
Yep. All right, let's do it.
Let's go with strawberry.
Guys.
And kind of what really differentiates what we do from a lot of other shrub companies, we're really heavy on the fruit. We cold press ferment. We're not pureeing and straining the fruit into the shrub, so that way we're getting just the purest flavor possible. And the nice thing is what's left over, we give to different restaurants, bars, and bakeries to use in different baked goods and just different food dishes.
All right. Where can which bakeries do you work with?
So right now I'm doing a little bit with Mon Petit Cherie. I've done stuff with In Bloom, which is used to be in Keg and Case Market in St. Paul. They used to make an apple butter out of our apple rosemary shrub. And right now I'm going to be meeting with Jorge Guzman from Petit Leon next week because we have about 16 cases of plums that have been fermenting with wildflower honey and sugar that we are going to drop off and see what fun things they can produce. So
Oh God, that sounds nice.
it's going to be
I don't
fun.
even like plums.
That kind of just sounds like fun, just to get like a bunch of an ingredient and just be like, I don't know, go nuts.
Oh yeah, it's what when my mom had the farm. That's what I would do every summer. Obviously on a smaller scale.
Yeah. And that's what we love to do because we hate throwing things away, but at the same token, there's only so many jams, cobblers, crisps, and pies that we can eat in a day. So really accessing our friends and family and our network in the metro area, it's been really fun to not only meet new people, but also see what they're able to do with it. Because sometimes you see what they do and you're like, wow, I never even thought about doing that. But then that kind of unlocks that whole other part of your brain. So it's been fun.
All right, so on the nose, I get strawberry. I sure do. Oh wow! All right.
Oh, on the tongue, way more strawberry, which
Yeah.
pleasant surprise, quite honestly. Well, you're the fruit head.
Yeah,
What do you think?
So here's a fun fact about strawberries: is for the past at least 50 years, probably longer than that, there's been a bunch of selective breeding going on with strawberries, which to make them bigger and more photogenic, which has reduced the flavor compounds in them considerably. So strawberries now look better and are bigger than they were a century ago, but on average they taste worse. And the only reason I bring that up is because they don't have very concentrated strawberry flavor. Strawberries. This tastes more like a strawberry than a strawberry does.
That's fun. Is there a way to like make an old fashioned strawberry? Is there still like?
I mean, you can still find wild strawberries.
Oh yeah.
That's like a thing.
I know there's a lot of them when we'd go up kind of by like Gooseberry Falls, up like north by Duluth, that area. You can find a lot of those. They are generally quite small, but
Yeah.
packed full of sweetness. And
They're also really soft.
So
That's kind of creepy. I see why kids wouldn't like that.
yeah,
I handed them like a weird mushy strawberry.
but they taste fantastic. So if you get the chance. Anyway, that's phenomenal. Of course, it does have that shrubby vinegar smell, which I feel like some people might have trouble getting over that. Obviously, doesn't perturb me any.
I mean, it's basically just kombucha in terms of like how it feels on the tongue.
Oh, you're not
It's
wrong.
like sparkly, I think more accessible kombucha. Like I would rather drink this than kombucha.
Oh,
generally.
certainly.
Well, the nice thing with the shrubs is you can kind of tone it up or down depending on what you're feeling. Do you want it to be more like a LaCroix? Just add a little small dash. If you want it to be more like a pop, you can add a little bit more. So it's kind of dependent on what flavor you're feeling. And then when you do kind of give it a whiff in the full concentration mode, it is just like jam central.
Oh my God, the vinegar completely disappears when you don't dilute it.
Yep.
That's weird. It's
That
like
is so strange.
Because
goes
the
the op-
carbonation really releases a lot of that aroma from the vinegar.
oh, I suppose, yeah.
So, yeah,
It's more of the acetic acid into the air.
that is kind of our crowd pleaser. Whether you're 6 or 66, it's just bright and fun. So it's great in like daiquiris, margaritas, strawberry
can see that.
lemonades, things like that.
Making a strawberry with that. I don't normally like strawberries, but you make a strawberry with that,
That sounds like it would be interesting.
right?
Especially if you put it over some shaved ice.
I see where you're going with this.
That'd be really good, I think.
And it can come up and over the spirit without bastardizing it, and it's not adding an overwhelming amount of sweetness because that vinegar kind of has that sweet and sour tang to it.
Oh yeah, which would especially pair well with like an agave spirit.
Yes. So now
right.
we're going to go to the 18th and Central.
All right.
This we do not actually need to necessarily dilute. This and the Humdinger are pre-diluted cocktail mixes.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
So this was created because 18th and Central was one of the most popular cocktails at the Northeast Tap Room, and they wanted to have that made into shrub form and to somebody just be able to add aquavit and the shrub, and then you have the cocktail.
Oh, were that I had brought a bottle of aquavit.
You have an aquavit?
Not here. I don't.
Yeah.
I should have brought some.
That's all
I brought
good.
mezcal instead.
Excellent. You know what? That works.
So this is going to be pineapple with toasted coconut and lime peels.
We know how we feel about pineapple here.
We do know how we feel about pineapple.
It's
here.
very good,
It
for the
is
record.
delicious.
Derek and I have fought on the air about who likes pineapple more.
I will give him every other fruit in the book, but pineapple is the one that I will fight for.
A good pineapple is delicious. A bad pineapple is just a crunchy mess.
Yeah.
But you can always like when I get a pineapple, I like core it, I keep the skin, I make it into tea.
Yes.
Like I love every bit of that guy.
And that's where a lot of those flavor compounds and those oils reside are in the skins.
Oh yeah.
So
Literally
you can
just boil it. It tastes like a sweet, delicious tea. It's like
Yep.
low effort.
Oh wow.
I got the coconut way more than I expected to, and not in a bad way.
See, I'm getting the lime peel more than anything.
Really? No, it's very.
We have very different senses of taste, I suppose.
I mean, I just like
I
coconut.
mean, I definitely get the coconut, but it's not the strongest thing in there for me.
I mean, it's definitely. I mean, I associate the lime peel kind of sourness with the shrubbery of it anyway.
I suppose.
So I think I overlook it more.
Now, see, you were comparing the last shrub we did, the strawberry diluted with fizzy water to a kombucha. This tastes like a kombucha to me.
Yeah. It's
maybe
not
a
as
little-
obnoxious as a kombucha is on the vinegar side.
Well, yeah. See, I think it's a little bit more flavorful and a little bit less vinegary. But if you served that to me and told me it's kombucha that's gone flat, I would probably believe you.
Or you
Yeah.
just sparkle it up a little bit.
And a main reason for that being just really mellow is cane vinegar is the vinegar of choice for this shrub, which is made out of sugar cane versus white vinegar and strawberry.
Okay.
Things that are super acidic like a pineapple or blueberry or raspberry, you don't want to over acidify it. So adding that cane vinegar kind of softens the punch and just allows the berry to be really nice and bright. Whereas strawberries are so juicy and fruity and full and bright, and they're not overly acidic, so that white vinegar can kind of come up with the flavor at the same time.
That kind of makes sense because I feel like when it comes to trying kombucha anyway, I tend to stick to strawberry flavors, which is weird because I don't really like strawberry that much. But I feel like the flavors of something strawberry based is so much more cohesive in a kombucha
Yes.
than when they go like it's a blueberry banana, and I'm like, it tastes just like vinegar.
Yeah, because you're having a lot of acid from the fruit, and then you're getting more acid, and it's too much.
It
for your
stings.
palate.
It's just kind of like, okay, this just kind of hurts. It's kind of like whiskey, but less fun.
Yeah.
All
Just
right.
depends on, I guess, how long you're fermenting your kombucha for.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, if you ferment all the sugar out of it, you're going to have a problem.
and also like store bought kombucha from like not someone who makes it.
That's
like, puts
true.
it on tap. Usually, it could be sitting on that compromised on the shelf
Oh, that's
for
true.
like so long, and you could just buy a bad one and not realize it. There are ways to tell, but I'm too lazy to.
All right, so what are we moving on to here?
We're moving on to the holidays in a glass, a little Asian pear ginger cinnamon.
All right.
I guess.
Fantastic for like rye whiskeys, great in mules, fantastic in gin and tonics.
Oh, that has my attention.
Yeah,
love
you had me at mules.
And he had me at gin. I love gin.
I do as well. It is just so fun to try all the different gins and see what botanicals people are having fun with.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'll shoot it. Like, if you ask me what I want a shot of, it's gin.
I can vouch for that. This is, Derek, you have you say this activated a memory for me.
Yeah.
This is activating a memory for me, and I'm not sure what of, but it tastes nostalgic for reasons that I will probably think of when I'm editing this in 3 weeks.
Isn't that how it always works, though?
Right.
I'm not getting any nostalgia from it. So maybe it is holidays related.
It's probably. You said there's ginger and cinnamon.
Fig
in this.
Newton. No?
You're getting fig from this.
I'm getting Fig Newton. I don't know why. I kind of took another taste and that's what flashed into my head. Is it correct? Who knows? But
No,
as soon as I saw the look on your face wasn't like acknowledgement, I was like, maybe I'm going to back off on the Fig
You know
Newton
what I think
angle.
it is Passover is coming up here. No, not Passover. Purim. Purim's coming up here.
Bad Jew.
Yes, bad Jew. Hasn't practiced since I was 13, but I do know when the holidays
Was that
are.
how you get
in
good at
theory.
being a Jew?
What?
You practice. But okay. moving
Yeah,
on.
I'll put in a soundbite for you. I feel like this might be like I'm remembering like Hamantaschen or something.
Oh wait. What were the ingredients in this again?
Asian pears, fresh ginger, cinnamon, sugar,
I
apple
might be.
cider vinegar.
What this might be reminding me of is the jarritos, because I think there's a pear flavor.
I'll take your word for it. I can never stand those.
Oh, I don't know if I love them, but there was a period of my life where I would drink one every day.
They're like 3 sweet 5 me.
Yes, but I mean, I was like 14.
Fair enough.
Before we drank alcohol, we had things like soda.
That is excellent. And I could see how that would go really well with like rye or complement the mule really well. Fabulous.
Thank you. We are going to end with a little Razzle Dazzle raspberry.
Okay, this is the one I've really been looking forward to because Derek will fight me on pineapple, but raspberry is actually my favorite.
Oh, I won't fight you for any Northwoods fruits. Anything that could be categorized as a mixed berry, except for the blueberry, I'll get a pass.
Which again is the Northwoodsiest of those fruits.
Yeah, but blueberries are at least fun. They're blue.
Would you recommend sparkly water for this one?
Yes, please.
All right. Lovely color.
What color is it?
Right. It's darker pink than the strawberry was.
It's actually really handy that I'm colorblind because it also means I ask for the sake of the listeners who can't see it.
Yeah, it's cloudy. It's pink. You can sort of see the fruit pulp in there, which is great. Smells excellent. Tastes excellent. I
taste the raspberry, and that's putting me off because I'm not a huge fan of raspberries. But mission accomplished. It tastes like raspberries.
yeah. If I were just gonna buy one of these, it would be this one.
For me, it's really a creamy raspberry almost. It's not that sharp, and that's that cane vinegar just kind of rounding everything off. So it is almost like a raspberry sherbet, like kind of that just like easy, like kind of lays down on the tongue nicely. I love that in like I do Clover Club riffs. Just throw that in instead of a raspberry syrup.
Oh, you know what? That's a good idea because that's more shelf stable too. I've made raspberry syrup before, and even in the fridge, it goes off in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Ooh.
You cannot keep the stuff.
raspberry mojitos it's great in. One of the drinks I brought today, I'm doing a Meyer lemon raspberry mule. So lots of fun stuff. And if you like to cook, raspberry vinaigrettes, usually like 2 parts oil to 1 part shrub, makes a really quick and simple vinaigrette. Pouring the strawberry over fresh fruit or any of the shrubs over fresh fruit really enhances the fruit
Oh, I'm
flavor.
sure.
Ooh, I didn't think of that.
Because vinegar just makes everything pop. I use it a lot in like doing for a pan sauce. So I do a lot of Asian cooking. So things like the plum with wildflower honey or the Asian pear ginger cinnamon when you're pairing that with like mirin fish sauce, soy, Thai chili, that just kind of brings that sweet and sour and that little extra body to kind of round everything off. So it's kind of like almost like the dawn of the bar and the kitchen. You just seem to use it in a little bit of everything. Because essentially we've made a gastrique in a bottle. And
Yeah.
Ooh.
now we're just telling people to use it for cocktails. And once they use it enough for cocktails, we're like, hey, you can use it in the kitchen as well. And
See, that's happened to me before where I have shrubs for the longest time because I wait until I want to make a cocktail. But like after trying this with sparkling water, which is not a thing that's ever occurred to me, I'm like, I would just do this.
Really?
Yeah, because
That's the way
here's
the
thing.
shrubs were first introduced to me.
I love juice so much, but I cannot drink that much sugar and maintain like a healthy lifestyle. Because I will take I buy orange juice and I will drink the whole thing in one day. I buy 2 bottles of orange juice. I drink both of them the same day. Like I just cannot stop myself.
Oh my!
So if I could consume the wonderful fruit flavor without and also quenching my thirst,
right.
while not drinking that much sugar, that's actually super ideal.
And that is oddly enough another benefit of vinegar. Vinegar makes you salivate, so that means your thirst feels like it's being quenched, which is why farmers would drink switchels in the field because they do vinegar, apple cider vinegar, honey, ginger, and water, and they'd add those things to the water because otherwise it'd be like too sloshy and you'd feel like a waterbed.
You just keep drinking until you're like bloated.
And then the ginger's helping the metabolism. The honey's just good for your body and just like everything that you're working around.
And also sweetens it.
And sweetens it a little bit because that vinegar can be a little tangy. And then the vinegar is the thing that balances your pH and also makes you salivate so you feel like your thirst is being quenched, which is just
Yeah, and I feel like speaking of switchels, we did a switchel review a little bit when we did our episode at Sociable.
I remember that.
But it seemed like switchels were going to be a fad for a second, and then they just weren't. And I feel like that is some injustice. That is, I want them to.
I can't say I loved that switchel though. Like if I had a
That's not what you said
switchel
at the time.
it was pretty good, but like I didn't go back to it. Is what I'm referring to.
Well, that's fair.
Like time will tell, but I feel like I'm gonna leave today and probably buy these and then use them to drink, just like the seltzer we've just had.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a fair point. It's a fair point.
I mean, like if I'm looking back on that switchel and going, I never really did buy any more of that. Can't really say I loved it.
I mean, I feel like in the case of Superior switchels, I probably would have bought them if they had been like the same price as a soda, but they're considerably more expensive.
That's true.
And sometimes it is hard to, as a consumer, want to buy things when you're like, oh, this has these few ingredients and I can just whip it together in 20, 30 minutes and have something. It just, I guess, depends on what the consumer wants out of their product. If they want something that's quick and easy, then they'll buy it. But if they want something that's, a little bit higher end, and they know they have to pay for it, then they're like, you know what, maybe I'm just going to make this at home.
Yeah, and I
Especially if they make a habit of drinking it.
I tripped over myself during that episode, and I was like, oh, yeah, I could probably make something like this. On the air, talking to the brand rep. Oh, boy. All right, so as we flip it over to cocktails here, tell us about the provenance of Sharab. What got you into the shrub business?
Oh, it was kind of by accident, actually. A gentleman and I began talking about different shrubs and bitters and tonics and all that good jazz. And he introduced me to Shrub & Co. out of California. And I tried them and I was like, these are good, but we need more fruit. They were pureed and strained. They were kind of thick. So when you would have a stirred cocktail, you wouldn't be able to just strain it. You would have to double strain it, which was kind of weird. And again, it just didn't have enough fruit. And I guess looking at a lot of the books, everything said 1 part fruit, 1 part sugar, 1 part vinegar. And then when you kind of look at that and you're like,
Can we just put these all together?
well, you're like, I don't want the same amount of vinegar as I do fruit. I want more fruit.
Right.
So kind of playing around with things, then we did almost a stepladder style build where fruit is the number 1 ingredient, sugar is the second, and vinegar is the third.
Right.
Because if people, quite frankly, just wanted to drink vinegar, they can go out and buy a bottle of vinegar for $5.
Yeah.
I can vouch.
Can vouch. Have drink vinegar.
So that's kind of where that started. And just looking at a lot of the old school styles, seeing that people would cook their shrubs, cook the fruit and the sugar, and then puree and strain it, and then add the vinegar. Just thinking about like, well, if you're wanting to get the purest flavor, you would just kind of do a cold press extraction. So I started playing around with that, and then, made some different flavors, brought them around to different liquor stores. They really enjoyed it. Took another 1.5 years to really get everything dialed in, locked down with prep kitchen, licensure, and all of that jazz. And then we launched, I think it was February 17th, 2016.
All right.
And have been just rocking it ever since.
Nice. Pandemic
Be damned.
help you, hurt you, anything like that? I mean, I know I worked at a liquor store over the pandemic, and quarantine drinking was a real thing.
Yeah. We had our best year on record last year, and this year is probably going to hopefully double that. So
I mean, that's why I bought shrubs. I was bored at home. I had a mini bar. Might as well learn how to make some things.
Yep. And a lot of things we did too is we would partner with a lot of different liquor stores, because the Minneapolis-St. Paul community is so small that we do know a lot of these distilleries and owners of breweries, distilleries, wineries. So it's like, hey, I see you're working with so-and-so. Let's see if we can put a cocktail together and put it in like a cocktail kit, because that's what really everybody was doing at the beginning of quarantine, because with the restaurants being taken away, people wanted cocktails. So I think at the height of it, we did, 14 or 15 different cocktail kits
Nice.
at different liquor stores throughout the metro area.
That sounds fun. I don't know why I've never tried one of those.
They were not very long-lived.
No, they weren't long-lived because they tend to be a little expensive. And then some of them, you can only have that one drink. Mm-hmm. There's a few we did for South Glendale Liquors where I included 3 or 4 recipes for 3 or 4 different drinks that you can make out of that one kit. And stuff like that really, I think, helps extend it, because then you don't feel like, well,
About
I
one
just
drink.
had 12 margaritas today. I am not having another one.
I feel like if you had 12 margaritas, you probably don't want another one anyway,
Yeah, you're probably taking a nap.
at best. All right, that's good. If the quarantine can be said to have been good for any business, it's got to be beverages.
And
Goddamn.
vinegar-based beverages at that.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think I'd ever have had Superior Switchels if it hadn't been for the pandemic.
Well, because, people are trying so many new things, and you're just like, what's local, what's new, what do we want to try? And
Also, like a big thing for me, it was like I want to support the businesses that I'm worried might not make it through the pandemic.
yeah,
So like Hodges, I was started to go there as soon as I could,
Oh,
and like
speaking
went there.
Hodges Bend.
Yeah.
Sweet Hodges.
Speaking of cocktail kits, they tried that at the beginning. They did not make it. In the meantime,
I'm looking at this coffee though.
speaking of cocktails, we don't have any Chinar, but we do have shrubs. So, what are you making for us here, Alex?
Well, I got 3 cocktails, so are we thinking we want to start with the Spirit Forward or something lighter first?
I'd like to go in the so each one of them uses a different shrub, right?
Yep.
I would like to use the same order of shrubs. So like we went with strawberry and then
Perfect.
and go that way.
So we will go with the 18th and Central. The strawberry, I didn't bring anything to do a cocktail with,
All right.
just because I feel like we all know
For sure.
where
Yeah.
to throw strawberries in. And it's the great thing with that is, like I said, it's so pure strawberry flavor. If you want it to be non-alcoholic and make a strawberry lemonade, it's amazing. If you want to do alcoholic and do a gin and tonic or a daiquiri or a mule or a margarita or a mojito, I mean, the choice is yours. They're pretty much endless cocktails. But with this one, it's kind of a play originally on a tea punch, a hyper diluted tea punch. I love rum agricole.
Right.
Mezcal and rum agricole for me really had that same kind of fun, funky, grassy flavor connotation. So swapping out rum agricole for mezcal in this cocktail, and then taking away the syrup JM, now you are left with this beautiful, really easy cocktail I like to call Smoke on the Water.
Oh, I like it.
It's a good song.
And you know what? Thank you for name dropping a tea punch, because this is the most craft cocktail we've ever gotten on this show, and I'm a craft bartender, so like this show has this is like the farthest from the shit post that this show normally is that we've ever been. And I appreciate that.
Hey, not a problem.
Because yes, most seltzer is terrible. I'm willing to say that on the air.
I will concur.
That's why
with that
we will
on the
never we will never do a Bud Light sponsored episode because there's no way I could lie for that long.
So this cocktail is going to be easy to drink. It's only got an ounce of booze. If you want to ramp it up more, you can. The nice thing with this, with the coconut water, it makes it super refreshing, and it's kind of like a session drink. So I did 1 ounce of La Luna Cuprieta Mezcal. You can use whatever mezcal you like, but I really do enjoy the La Luna. I'm doing a 1/2 ounce of the Pineapple Toasted Coconut Lime Shrub. And then all you need to do after that is just add 2.5 ounces of coconut water. And that's essentially your cocktail.
Is that, despite being in the craft cocktail industry for, well, not actually for that long, 3 or 4 years, it's the first coconut water cocktail I've ever had.
Nice.
Normally, I think of coconut water as a hangover curative, not a hangover inducer.
Well, see, the nice thing is you can drink more because you're having all the hydration. So it's an easy one, especially in the summer, because so many of us kind of forget, oh yeah, we need to drink water. And this is a great cocktail where you can drink and be refreshed at the same time.
So I can just replace all the water with that then.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I'm into it.
So you actually joke about replacing all the water with coconut water, but if you are chronically dehydrated, or not chronically, if you are severely dehydrated and you need a saline drip, but none is available, you can actually tap a coconut and just pump it right into your veins.
Well, I was not expecting that last part.
Yeah.
I thought you can drink coconut water instead, not intravenous coconut water.
It is. You can absolutely just put an IV into a coconut and drain it into your body if you need intravenous fluids.
That's kind of fun.
So yes, you absolutely can replace all the fluid in your body with coconut water.
Okay. I'm glad I'll probably never need to use that information.
So this cocktail again was 1 ounce of the La Luna, a 1/2 ounce of the 18th and Central Shrub, and then 2.5 ounces of coconut water, and then just a dash of Ango on top.
Wow, I don't hate tequila in this.
You never hate tequila.
I don't love tequila, and I like that I can taste it. And like you said, this is very light on liquor. I like it this way. I feel like if the tequila was stronger, I probably would not be into it. Are you think differently?
No, I love this. I guess I do think a little bit differently in that were I making this, I would probably add more liquor to it. But I go the other way on tequila. I can't get enough of it. I love mezcal, sotol, raicilla, whatever the 5th one is. There are 5 of them. But
Sotol is another fun one that just has been kind of
or it's just penetrating the market now. I still can't find a good bottle of raicilla here, but
Sotol?
No, Sotol I can find.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, raicilla it's a 4th tequila, or it's 4th agave spirit. Back on the topic of the cocktail, I think I'm going to have to put coconut water in more things because I feel like that really works.
I could chug this, and that doesn't usually happen to things with tequila in it for me.
Well,
it's mezcal, not tequila, but close enough.
Tequila, rum, all those things. Anything that's kind of grassy, so like the rums, the tequilas, the mezcals, they work really, really well. And especially when you look at a lot of the kind of more tiki-esque cocktails, they tend to be a little heavy-handed on acid and sugar. And this is a great way to, take something like that and you can just dilute it a little bit. And now you're still not bastardizing that flavor, but you're kind of not destroying your palate with a bunch of acid and sugar.
And I wonder, is that why I like the 3 dots in the dash? What was that? At Hodges?
I have no idea what's in
Because
3
that was a
dots in the
tiki
dash.
drink that did not taste acidic, and that's why I kept coming back to
Are
it.
you talking about the cocktail or the actual bar?
The cocktail, because Hodges would make it. I don't know if it's on the menu.
Yeah, that's a bar down in Chicago.
In Chicago, yeah.
Oh, I've never
I've
been
been
there.
there. Yes.
I've been to Chicago many times, so I might as well.
Well, we're going to
Buy
Chicago
one.
in August, right?
Oh yeah, well, what time? When in August? Because I know I pointed out market days, but I also am going to Canada that month. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, well, okay.
So now we are going into an Asian pear ginger cinnamon cocktail, a little smooth criminal.
Ooh,
It's so smooth, it's dangerous. So
All right.
you can choose whatever you'd like for your base spirit in terms of like a rye or a bourbon. I'm a really big fan of the Rittenhouse. It's just for the price, you really can't beat it. Another one I really enjoy is Old Overholt. And
I am a fan of Old Overholt.
Yeah.
I will
That's-
get a glass of that every once in a while.
The first catering company I ever worked for, Old Overholt, was the House Rye, and it was like the first whiskey that I ever learned to like.
yep, spicy and fun.
See, I
Yeah.
tend to go towards bourbon, but that is a rye I like.
See, well, I can't. I hate bourbon. I appreciate you having brought rye for this.
Not a problem, yeah, because I think the rye, just with that ginger and rye and
Yeah.
cinnamon, bourbon with this cocktail would get a little too sweet. And sometimes the problem is with bourbons, they're getting a little higher proof, but then the thickness and the viscosity is increasing. So now you're getting something that's maybe 125 proof, but it's drinking like a bourbon schnapps. And that's, or you can have it the opposite way where it's getting higher in proof and it's becoming thinner and hotter. And it's a tricky wicket to, make your bourbon or rye whiskey the perfect consistency, the perfect flavor. Takes time.
I've watched a lot of material about whiskey distilling, and it's more art than science.
It is. So we got 2 ounces of the Rittenhouse. We're going to do kind of a fat third of the Asian pear ginger cinnamon shrub.
Fat Third was my nickname in college.
I knew it. That's why I said it. And then we're going to do just a tiny splash. Now, how much you do is really up to you. I think just like a little 1/8 of an ounce, just a little bit of maple syrup really makes a big difference. Because for me, this is the glue that brings everything together. It doesn't need to be much. Just 1/8 of an ounce is what's going to bring the liquors and the shrub, kind of bring them together. And then because ginger, cinnamon, rye whiskey need a little bit of fruit, we're going to do 1/8 of an ounce of the Tattersall orange crema. And so this is kind of built like an old fashioned in a way.
Yeah, it's reminding me of not so much an old fashioned, but like an improved whiskey cocktail.
Yeah. It's going to drink almost like a Manhattan, though, without as much body, because you're not going to have as much burn. It's just going to be very smooth and easy to drink.
You're speaking my
I
language.
Like that. I guess I do like drinking whiskey straight, but unless I'm doing that, I don't want to feel it burn.
Yeah.
If I do that, I would just drink it straight.
If I'm going to be drinking a dark spirit, I do like it to be nice and light, or as much as possible.
Yeah.
I can drink clear spirits straight, no problem there. But
Whiskey sour kind of gets passed just because it's very sweet.
Well,
yeah,
And the nice thing about vinegar, too, especially in like these types of cocktails, that vinegar really gets rid of the mouth fire. Like
Yeah.
when you drink something that's really high proof, you're just like, oh, I feel like a dragon.
Yeah.
Well, the vinegar, it's really good at kind of toning that down and kind of almost capturing that fire and just kind of making your belly warm and not your mouth.
I have noticed that when I've experimented with shrubs at home, is that they really cut the alcohol burn a lot, which is, I guess, maybe a less well-recognized benefit of them. I guess it could also be dangerous, huh?
Yeah, I know, right? It kind of depends on how you're looking at it. Here
Thank you,
two
sir.
are.
I almost spilled that. That would have been tragic.
You can call this a smooth criminal, right?
Yes, sir.
Derek, are you okay?
Not struck yet. But yeah, I see what you mean. Like it tastes like the rye whiskey. Like definitely.
Yeah.
But it isn't. It's almost like an illusion where it's like, okay, tastes like whiskey, doesn't feel like it.
It kind of comes out at the beginning. You're like, ooh, I get that nice rye spice.
Yeah.
And then it just mellows out as it sits on the tongue, and it's not trying to like kick down your palate, so to speak.
Oh yeah.
You know, the shrub is actually quite prominent in this, but you wouldn't know it. I don't think I would realize that if I hadn't had the shrub on its own first.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's improving the whiskey in every way.
Exactly.
I think you would credit it to the whiskey if you didn't know better.
Exactly.
Yeah. You'd be like, wow, this is some spicy whiskey.
It's interesting. It's like it's winning an Oscar for supporting character.
Well, and I think that's, the thing about like drinks like this, or another one I really enjoy is doing martinis, but I don't like olives. I'm not a big fan of olives and olive brine. So how do I make a martini that's a dirty martini without olives, but also without bastardizing it? Because there's been so many times you see somebody order the most expensive vodka or gin and they're like, I want that as dirty as possible. And it's like, well, I mean, we could have just given you a bottle of Phillips and
Right.
thrown some olive juice in there and you'd be happy. So the nice thing with these shrubs, like the apple rosemary in gin for a martini, is phenomenal, especially a barrel gin. If you're a fan of Dampwork out of St. Louis Park.
I'm a big fan of Dampwerk. Unfortunately, they're the most expensive local distillery.
They are.
And not at all by a small margin.
How do you spell that?
Dampfwerk.
Werk. Dampwork. Okay.
And they make a barrel gin that is beautiful and do about 2 ounces gin, a quarter ounce of the shrub, and a big third ounce of dry vermouth, or a half ounce, depending on how you like your martinis. And that vermouth and that shrub just enhance that barrel gin character so nicely. And it feels like you're really accentuating the martini without taking something that somebody worked really hard on to distill and then saying, I'm going to dump some olive juice in it. But
I have a bottle of it at home, and in 3 weeks when I'm editing this, I'm going to hear you say that, and I'm going to make one.
I'm enamored with this Dampwork place. I'm mad that you've drawn my attention to
My
it.
employee discount still works at Elevated, so if nothing else, I'll get some there.
which, did you used to work at?
I used to work at Elevated Beer, Wine, and Spirits.
In South or White Bear Lake?
South.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why you look familiar.
That is why I look familiar.
Very memorable.
They were,
I'm visually distinctive.
I believe, either the second or third account to bring us in.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, that must have still been when Jim was working there then.
Yep, because Jim and I had worked together 10 years prior at the airport, and so that's how Jim and I knew each other.
Oh my God.
You've come a long
Hospitality and like spirits in this town is it's so small.
It really is. I mean, the fact that I can see somebody post something on Instagram that I probably haven't even met in real life and just message them and be like, hey, I want to do something fun with you. Let's create this. And they can come back and be like, yeah, that sounds fun. It looks like we have a lot of mutual people together. Let's all get them together and let's meet up and do this. That's kind of, I think, the fun thing about Minneapolis and St. Paul is that
It's very collaborative.
it is very collaborative, yeah. And that's, I think, one of the reasons that we were very successful during COVID, and a lot of other local businesses were successful during COVID, is because Minnesotans, we love each other and what we create. And a lot of these people that have these small businesses, they're our friend, they're our brother, they're our cousin, they're, our coworker's nephew. And the 6 degrees of separation, I feel like in MSP is really 2.
Yeah.
Or maybe 3 at best.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like Reno markets itself as the biggest small town in America. We're coming for you,
It's
Reno.
like I'm in IT and I had like 3 degrees from it.
Right.
I was like, I did a side hustle in a catering gig. Oh yeah, Frank and Vanessa. Okay.
And then that's what's kind of fun, because you never know where your life is going to lead. You never know where your business is going to lead, and it's just fun sometimes to kind of go along for the ride. See,
and it's fun to see what you make. Like,
Yeah.
what was that? Bauhaus did the tea seltzer with that restaurant
Bolero with Revival.
with Revival. Yes. And they made like this interesting, like weird, delicious.
Oh, is it like a peach tea?
Yeah.
Well, the peach tea is the normal Bolero, but then they had a blue one they made with
They made that with Cafe Caribe.
Cafe Caribe. That's right. And that was just like, I thought that was really good. And it was almost a bummer that I'd have to go to Cafe Caribe to get it.
And some of the best, it's like the best seltzer line we've ever had.
The
Maybe-
Bolos?
Yeah.
Nice.
Bolero specific.
Bolero. Yeah.
Bolo's okay, but they tend to skunk a little bit. That's kind of, I used to be, when going into this show, it was my favorite seltzer. And it's since been toppled multiple times, but it's not bad.
And,
but
and,
Bolero.
and I haven't drank a ton of seltzers, but the ones that I really did like, I like the press ones. Those
Press is not bad.
Press
The
actually
new-
won our award for the most improved.
Yes, the second generation of Press was
Yeah.
actually really, really good. And they started mixing flavors. The first set was like kind of basic, I
Yeah.
think, in terms of flavor
I don't know if I'd
choices.
say it was super basic.
It was like spice plus fruit, and then they
Yeah.
started doing like 2 fruits and a spice. And then
Right.
it seemed to mature the flavors a lot.
I really like. I think it was like a grapefruit cardamom they did.
Grapefruit
Yeah.
cardamom is delicious.
that was
That
actually, that was
was-
part of their first line. That was probably the best one in their first
There's
line.
the
I
one I
think
like
yeah,
the
that
first
was the one that I'm just like, oh, that warming of the cardamom, that like sweet bitterness of the grapefruit. It's
It's nice
like
that
a
they do something different.
That's like a perfect Paloma seltzer.
Oh yeah.
So you just had to squeeze a lime and tequila and
It's funny.
alcohol for your mixer.
So many people try to do Paloma seltzers.
I think only like maybe that one and then Onda.
Onda did a good
I
one.
don't think that they didn't call it a Paloma, did they?
They didn't call it. I think if you don't call it a Paloma, that's how you make a good Paloma seltzer.
That's fair
Because
enough.
like I've started to see bars pick up Mamita's tequila seltzer,
yeah.
which is okay. It's fine. Like I choose it over White Claw any day.
Yeah.
But I still am kind of bummed that you don't find the other ones.
Yeah.
So last but not least, we got a little mule action for you.
Yes.
So the vodka we're using is Meyer Lemon vodka from Local. They are out of Faribault.
Oh, okay. I have seen Local around, locally, you might say.
Ah.
I've never had it, and I've wanted to try it. Like we have like 2 bottles in the back room at the catering company I work for now. That we must have had them for an event or something, but
Someone must have requested it.
yeah, we don't use we don't use it.
And so you don't have access to it in any way. You
Right.
can't have any.
See, the problem is when somebody requests local vodka and somebody takes that literally and they bring them local vodka instead of local vodka. This is what happens.
It was a brilliant branding scheme.
I know, right? It's like, I just need some local vodka for my wedding. It's like, we've got you. It's like, no, not
But it
like,
is
I guess,
local-ish.
I guess this is what you wanted, but
Faribault's
no, I'll
not
take
that
it.
far.
No, it's not. But they do a Meyer Lemon, a Key Lime, and a Blood Orange, as well as the traditional vodka. I was really drawn to this Meyer Lemon, and it is just light and bright. I don't know if y'all want to. I'll pour you a little
Oh, yeah.
dram off here.
Oh
so
yeah,
you can
actually that'd be great.
see what it's like by itself.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
really lemony on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I would be able to shoot this. It does smell kind of
Oh, I
like
could.
cleaning solution to
No,
me.
it tastes like a lemon head.
It tastes really good.
I mean, look, it's alcohol. I mean, they share some things in common with cleaning solution.
That's true. That's true.
That's like saying a kombucha tastes like vinegar. It's like, yes, that is the mission.
So I was looking at the back of this bottle for the entire recording, and you see it's distilled from corn, 100% neutral spirits from corn, and I know what the price point is on this too, and I feel like this is a local product that competes with Tito's on every level. It is
Except being like $5 to $7 cheaper a bottle.
right.
Which is, I think, really the great part. And it's, you look at what Tito's has done with corn vodka. Corn vodka is a little sweeter. People tend to like a little bit sweeter. Personally, I prefer things like Belvedere because it's a rye vodka.
Yeah.
It has a little bit more substance to it. But people love corn. So if you can make something that's similar to Tito's at a cheaper price point and it's local and you're able to offer it in a few fun flavors, I mean, that's a win-win right
Oh yeah,
there.
Yeah.
absolutely. I've always been a big fan of Luxushova, which undercuts Tito's on the price, and it's potato, so it tastes really nice and clean. But yeah, anyway, it's neither here nor there.
Sobieski is another one. That's a
Yeah.
rye-based, and I really like that as well because I think it's like $10, $11.
Yeah. Both Polish.
And it's amazing how stepping up $2 to $3 from Kharkov to,
Right? It's amazing how much
Sobieski's
difference that makes.
Wow. You know what? It doesn't taste like rubbing alcohol. This is fantastic.
I'm glad I'm on this show because it really has elevated my perception of alcohol. Because I would just drink the cleaning solvent and then be like, yeah, I'm okay with alcohol. I don't care. And then I try this. I'm like, oh, wait, there's stuff that actually tastes good.
Yeah.
Not like Arby's curly fry vodka.
Well, hold on now. The Arby's Curly Fry Vodka was a hell of an investment.
You still have it,
I
right?
do still
Oh,
have
you
it.
do have it?
Yeah, I got it.
You got both of them. You got the curly fry and crinkle fry.
Yeah.
And it's funny because a friend of mine who works for Tattersall, we were talking about this, and he's like, I just don't know who's going to distribute this because, like, Arby's wants to distribute this, and we're doing this for Arby's. And this is when I was bar managing at Certic Sidebar. I go to my boss, I go,
You were bar managing at Certic Sidebar.
I love Sidebar.
yeah.
I
was
love
just there, like, 2
Sidebar.
weeks
Yeah.
ago.
It's since Hodges closed, it's my new favorite bar.
Same. I've been going there when I used to go to Hodges. It's where I like go on dates and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was there. I was there from open until this past August, designing the cocktail menus and all that stuff. And I go to my boss. I go, "How many states do you distribute to?" And he's like, "Why?" And I go, "I think we have something here." So I put everything together, and that is how.
That's how Certic's ended up.
got the Tattersall.
It was you. Oh my
It's
god.
not your fault.
Oh my.
Because they were struggling with, like, Tattersall was with, how are we going to distribute this? Because Minnesota has such weird liquor laws that
Right.
there's only so many states they can ship to. And so they're like, we need to find the liquor store that ships to the most states. And it ended up being
Oh, it's right down the street.
little mule action now. So we're going
All
to
right.
go 2 ounces of vodka instead of the normal 1.5. Because, I mean, it's a Wednesday. It's hump day. Let's get it going.
I can
Exactly.
always go to karaoke later if I need to party it out.
It's my Sunday. My week starts tomorrow, but that's okay.
Ew.
Ah,
You know I'm a bartender.
I know, but like I don't even think a Thursday is really being a bar day.
All right.
Ooh, I love how this smells.
Right. It smells fantastic. It tastes.
Oh, this is my favorite by far. Holy shit.
See, I feel like the ginger beer is overpowering the shrub.
well,
Oh, I do like ginger beer.
easy remedy to that.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. There we go.
Well, in this, the Q tonic or the Q ginger beer is really potent. They actually use chilies in it, which kind of gives it a nice spice to it too.
That'll do it.
I did like it better when we added more shrubs.
Yeah.
I didn't dislike it before.
Yeah. No, it tasted good before. I just couldn't taste the shrub. Now I can taste the shrub.
The nice thing is, you just have to look for the right color.
That sucks for me.
Ah,
Bummer.
So I've actually brought this up when we've tasted raspberry products in the past. Raspberry is one of the easiest flavors to replicate artificially, and it's also one of the most obvious when you do, because real raspberries have so goddamn much dye in them that
You can't make a clear seltzer that tastes like raspberries without artificially making it.
right.
and this. You probably don't want to know how many raspberries get purchased a year to make these shrubs.
How many raspberries died for this one
A
bottle?
lot.
This is why you want to recycle the fruit.
So they're very difficult to cultivate, but I know it is possible, and they grow native to the area. So if nothing else, you could pay just like a lot of money to get wild ones. But have you tried doing this with black raspberries?
I have not.
Oh, because it would make it black as oil, I'm sure, because as much dye as regular raspberries have, black raspberries have so much more. But I really think they taste a lot better.
I'll have to look into that. I think we might be doing a blackberry shrub as well in the near future for another restaurant account we just acquired,
Ooh.
Oh, can you tell us who?
the Wild Hair in Stillwater.
Ooh. I do
Okay.
love the wild hair.
Never been to.
I've been there a couple times. It's been
I've
years
only
since
been
I've
to
been
Stillwater
Oh,
once.
they just opened like a month ago.
there. Oh, well, damn. I must be thinking of a different place.
They're owned by the same people that do the Velveteen, and they're right on Main Street. But Stillwater and Bayport and Hudson, we have a huge following in. We're at Manger in Bayport, Lolito in Stillwater, Lolo in Stillwater, on and off at Velveteen in Stillwater. We're at the Wild Hair. Hudson, we're at Lolo and Hudson, and we're at Casanova Liquors and at Purple Tree. So, and Chiconi's as well. So Hudson, Bayport, and Stillwater have been really good for us.
normally this is where we would go into ratings, but I feel like I can't help but give these an unequivocal buy.
I mean, okay, quite honestly, what would be the best place for us to buy?
So
On a list of
here's-
stuff, I know you
well,
said
hold
Elevated
on.
has it.
Here's why I'm saying, like I said, I sort of I had an awkward moment on the sociable episode where I said I could make these at home, and these I have made shrubs at home. But you say you ferment, you like do a cold pressing and a fermentation.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't make these at home, so having avoided that pitfall, yeah, Derek, you're asking where the easiest place to buy these would be.
I mean, for me, selfishly, there's actually a list on the website I actually saw.
Yep, there's the nice thing is on our website there's a list of we're in I want to say 45 or 50 different locations in the metro area. If you are in St. Paul, we're at Wine Thief Ale Jail. We're at Thomas Liquors.
Oh, you're a wine thief. I love the wine thief.
We're at Solo Vino in Minneapolis. We're at places like Ambivalus, Stinson Liquors, Certix Liquors, France 44,
I can get to Certix.
Elevated Wine and Spirits, Zips, Lake Wine and Spirits, South Lindale Liquors,
Okay.
Central Avenue Liquors.
I've been to a lot of these places.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the top 10s, basically.
Yep, all the top 10s essentially. Trying to think who else. Yeah, I said Solo Vino. There's a few spots like Elevated White Bear Lake, Cotronio's White Bear Lake, Liberty Village out in Stillwater, Village Liquor down in Prior Lake. We're in all 3 Eden Prairie liquor stores, all 3 Edina liquor stores. Few different spots, so yeah.
Yep, and for our interstate listeners, I'm assuming not international. I don't know if we even have any, but for our interstate listeners, this is not alcoholic, so in theory, it's shippable if you want to pay the shipping costs. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, we ship all over the U.S. and we've actually shipped a few over to Switzerland before as well. So,
Ooh,
Switzerland.
Fun.
so
Okay.
shipping
They have good
is
taste.
not.
What's the backstory on that?
It was a friend of mine is originally his wife is from Switzerland, and he was doing a virtual cocktail class and wanted me to ship some product over there. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the Sharab episode or side quest or whatever. I think we can all give this an emphatic buy.
Yeah, buy it. Do it. You won't.
And this at sharabshrubs.com.
Very helpful website. Learned all kinds of things.
And several liquor stores in the Twin Cities area
Yes.
and the surrounding suburbs. All right, listeners. This has been Seltzerquest. And remember, don't sniff the seltzer, but you can go ahead and sniff the shrubs.
Literally sniff them all day.
Hey, me again with the contact info for all you superfans and brand reps who want to send us stuff. You can slide into our DMs on Instagram at instagram.com/seltzerquest, or you can email us at holler@seltzerquest.com. That's holler@seltzerquest.com. Stay tuned and remember, don't sniff the seltzer.